GenFriends. I'm your host, Cheri Hudson-Passy from Carolina Girl Genealogy. And with me, we've got Jenny Hawran from Like Herding Cats Genealogy. Hello, Jenny.
Hello, happy to be here.
I'm so glad you're here too. We've got Melissa Barker, our archive lady. Hello, Melissa.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here. We have got Laura Hedgecock from Treasure Chest of Memories. Hey, Laura.
Hi, everybody.
And Penny's coming in and out, so we might be able to say.
Yeah, we'll see if she has any more secrets to tell us.
Okay, to tell you, yeah. We've got Mary Kircher Roddy from MKR Genealogy and the say it, so I don't say it wrong.
Applied Genealogy Institute.
Did she not get it?
No, it's just some of those nights I just get brain.
Is it genealogical?
Or
what
genealogy?
is it?
Yeah, exactly. It's a fabulous resource.
That's why Maggie is genealogy and not genealogical. Nobody could remember.
Nobody could remember. And of course, Shelley Murphy is here, our family tree girl. Hello, Shelley.
Good evening, everybody.
She's trying to stay away from just coming home from Japan.
Yes.
Oh,
And everybody, look, we've got Eric here. Woohoo! He's not wearing blue, but we will forgive him for that. So.
I'm in blue.
You're in blue, yes.
I'm picking up my blue shirts from the laundry on the way home today. So
all right, we forgive you, and we appreciate you coming on to help us talk about day 4, season 15 of Relative Race. Let me tell you.
I'm so excited about it. This has been an incredible season so far.
It really has. And we wanted you last week and it didn't work out because I wanted just quickly to ask you how you felt about Dan meeting his mom, because
that was on my must talk list right there.
Okay.
There are so many similarities. His mom was 19 when she had him.
Yeah.
I was 19. My mom was 19 when she had me.
Yeah.
We were both, I think, 53 when we met our moms.
Oh, wow.
And so watching him, it was, I lost it. I was just
I thought about you that whole episode.
Because it brought everything back.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And knowing what he was feeling at that moment, I was so happy for him. I was so incredibly, and seeing him to start the show for episode 4, doing his walk with his mom.
Yeah.
I was talking about him. I've been messaging with him, about meeting his mom and, our similarities and stuff. I haven't had a chance to mention that to him yet today, but I will be doing it at some point this evening. I blocked out when I took that sunlit, the sun was starting to go down, and I took that walk with my mom.
Yes.
You forget, I didn't even remember those pictures being taken, the film being taken, because everything else it's just you walking with your parents.
Disappears.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Beautiful.
I was so happy for him because he needed it. I know what he was feeling and I know what he needed, and it's amazing.
And you've just spent some time with your mom.
I did.
Yeah.
And I'm going back. I got to spend a couple of days. I'm out working in Missouri. It was so nice to have just time. I got to spend some time with my aunt and her husband as well. But I had a lot of just alone time. There's no cameras, no other people. It was just us, and it was fantastic.
I love that. That is so great.
That's great.
We're going to be, I'm going for the day before Easter. I have off on Easter. I'm sorry, I'm just letting my boss in to the car. I will be taking off the Saturday a little bit early from work. And I will be spending Sunday there. The lid's locked in. I'll be spending Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then coming back Wednesday.
Nice.
So the church is a big part of my mom's life. And so she won't be able to spend it with me on my birthday. Like, she went to church every day, my sister and my brother. She took them every year. Oops, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I dropped the phone there, but I took them every year.
Oh.
That she would take them, and they didn't know why until they were 16, but it was such. So to
Oh,
get people to have that time is
beautiful.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's awesome.
That is really awesome. Well, let's start talking about day 4. Like you said, Dan's walking on, learning more about his mom as they're going on this walk, and everybody else is, looking at maps and, and trying to get prepared and wait for that text to come through. And then, of course, we know that starting on day 4, we've got green and we've got red and we've got blue that have a strike, and only Team Black doesn't have a strike. And so, because they came in first, Team Black, on day 3, they don't have to do the penalty,
Right.
which the other teams had to do right at the beginning, and they had to listen to Drill Sergeant Debenham.
That was so funny.
He was trying so hard to be all rough
Tough.
and tough and Drill
Did,
Sergeant.
did he remind anyone else of Sergeant Carter from Gomer Pyle?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
He did.
That's so funny.
It would have been really funny if somebody had pulled a Gomer on him.
Yes.
That would have been
Yeah.
funny. So they
Yeah.
just had to do things like, and we had talked last week. We said, I wonder how they're going to do that. We figured it had to have been a video. So
Yeah.
they just got to watch the video, and they had to do things like run around in circles and do push-ups.
Exercise, boot camp.
Squats, yeah, all that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, Team Black gets to just leave because they didn't have a penalty. So they get to just leave. So everybody.
So how long do you think the boot camp
I
was?
don't know.
I'm thinking
It's
maybe
usually the penalties are
5
like
minutes.
around 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
When Abe and I had a dance,
yeah.
we danced very badly. But we danced like nobody was looking. Yeah, it was 5 minutes.
Except for all the cameras.
And then I remember when the one time when Abe and I won that day, other teams had to not drive for 5 minutes.
Right. Okay.
So
Right.
I think it's 5 minutes because
Only
if it's
5
more than that, it's too unfair of an advantage.
Yeah.
Right.
I think so
That
too.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's why we love having you come on, because you can help us
I
understand
know.
things.
The
Um,
inside tea.
The inside tea. Exactly. Exactly. I thought it was really funny. I mean, Team Green got the directions on how to get out of town. Was that when they were going after the challenge, or was that
No, that was out of town.
that was out of
Yeah,
town?
when the guy, weren't you with Mom? Weren't we supposed to go right when he went left? Well, it was not right
Yeah.
there. She just went
She
straight.
went straight. She went straight. Oh God.
I don't think they're very good with it with the directions because they
Not at all.
The
looked at
maps.
the. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're trying.
So funny.
I
So
really saw that coming because like he's leaning in and he's saying, follow me. And when I go left, you go. And she
Yeah.
had this dazed look like, okay.
what are you
I was
saying?
like,
Yeah.
Sorry
Yeah.
about
I'm
that.
sure that
No,
was
you're
went
good.
in one ear and out the
Out
other.
the other. Exactly. And I can see that happening because you're a little anxious and stressed and wanting to get out
Yeah,
and wanting to not
sure.
get another strike. And
Don't waste
So-
my time talking about it. Let's just do it.
let's just do it. Exactly. And poor Team Black, they don't have any penalty, but they got caught up in a lot of traffic. And so
Yes.
I don't think that 5 minutes head start helped them at all because
No, if you get hit with the traffic, it's because Abe and I, we had that head start coming out of when we left Tennessee.
Mhm.
We had quite a large start over Team Red.
Yeah.
But they were going just a tiny bit east of us, and they got smooth sailing. We hit
Yeah.
accidents. There was
Right.
cars hanging over on fire, and
Yeah,
Yikes.
it wasn't such a great travel day for you guys, was it?
no. But Red, they had a good travel day, and they did good in that first challenge. So all those things playing a part.
Exactly. So I'm trying to think, did anybody else have any other real issue as they were getting out of town? I think Team Blue
Really?
did pretty well. I think that they
Team Blue looked like they were pretty smooth sailing.
Yeah, I did.
And
look at
yeah,
that.
and I think Team Red didn't they know a back way to get to the
Yes, and
highway
you
or
know what?
something?
But when they said, we're going to go the back way, I thought, because we've seen teams try to take shortcuts before, and then it didn't work out. So I'm glad it worked out for them because sometimes
Yeah.
those shortcuts turn out
Yeah.
to not be a shortcut. So
They can definitely help you or they can definitely hurt you.
hurt you.
You know, when we went to New York, because the way that they timed how long it was going to take, they're doing it the common ways.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
me knowing the Pennsylvania area, we were coming from literally when Abe met his cousin,
Mhm.
episode 7, we were like literally 15 minutes from my parents' house.
Oh.
So I know that area
You
You knew
really
that
well.
area.
Yeah.
Plus, with my work, I've worked all around in that area doing, work for the power company.
Right.
So I went a completely different way because they were getting worried, the production team, like
Oh,
when, but they can't say anything to us.
exactly.
So when we finally got to like the highway and we were headed, they were like, how did you know that? And it's just, I know how traffic
Been
in
there, done
Jersey
that.
gets.
Yep.
Well,
Oh.
and Team Blue is in their home state. And the
Exactly.
place they were going is right on Interstate 90.
Yeah.
Spokane's
And they had
on
the
Interstate
shortest trip,
90.
too.
It was a
Yeah, they do.
straight
Yeah.
shot.
They
Yeah.
had the shortest trip, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody did pretty well. I mean, they all and got to the challenge. And you guys, this challenge killed me. It absolutely killed me. Not so much the challenge, but how they chose to do the challenge.
Team
Is-
Red got it smart. Do it all at
Exactly.
once.
They
Yeah.
did. I thought that was impressive that they
Yeah.
did it.
Go,
The
go,
one-
gumball. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Abe
they had
and we
yeah.
go think smarter, not
Mhm.
harder.
Exactly.
And,
So they
that
just
was slow and steady instead of that time going back and forth was much
yes.
longer than the putting the balls in.
And just
So
go
put them
and
all in at once and just do it at one
do
time.
it slowly and get over there.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. And then of course, putting it in your shirt didn't help too much either. But, I mean, I think Leland thought that would be a fantastic.
That was double work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta fish them
because you
out.
got to get them out of the shirt, and you're only, she's not a big girl. There's not a lot of space
Yes,
for
yes.
balls.
And she's got to get it out without not everybody being able to see down her shirt. Put them in. So that's awkward as well.
Yes,
So
the
do
cameras
we
are
think
always
that-
rolling.
Do we think this is one for the book, or do we not want to put
I
it in the
think
book?
it would be fun. I think families
Yeah.
would have a
No,
really
Laura
good-
says
You
no.
don't think so?
I'm there with
Shelley says
you,
no.
Laura.
I think
My
so.
husband wants to go in the Zorb ball.
Yeah, my kids would love, my grandkids
Yeah.
would love to go in that
I wondered
ball.
too about some of them crawled, and I saw
Yeah.
one walk, and I wonder if it
And
would have
some
been
did
better if you.
this.
Yeah, I wondered if I think it would be better to walk, but I don't know if you had kept your balance.
I've been in a Zorb ball before, so the main difference is not when I didn't have to worry about balls flying out. So
Yeah.
with doing the knee, it makes it quicker. It'll move the ball quicker.
Right.
So it's almost Team Black, they had said it's like a hamster wheel.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And it's that is a great description of it. But because you're gonna get tired and it's
Mhm.
those trip back, it may not
Yeah.
seem like, I don't know how far that was, but I'm assuming it's like, it's
Yeah.
probably 50 yards,
Probably
30 yards, 50 yards,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
a long way because you have to go back too.
Yes. Got to go back and get some more, and then come back
And
forth.
then
Yeah. Team Red. That was brilliant. That was a
Yeah.
brilliant
I
plan.
thought they did good with that.
Yeah.
they really,
That was great.
they really did.
Yeah.
I see a lot the way that they work, Team Red works together. I see a lot of the way that Abe and I work together.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The way their communication, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I was impressed with that.
Yeah. Yeah. They do work well together. Yep. That was really good. That was really good.
What I wondered too was their height in that ball.
Oh, that's
Right,
that's
Yeah,
why
Dan
he
said he's
get in
6'8".
6'8".
That's why
Yeah.
he didn't get in the ball.
Yeah, he wouldn't have
Right,
fit.
but
He
she's
couldn't
not,
fit.
I mean, because if you see the two of them together, you don't
Yeah.
think he's 6'8".
Yeah.
No, but
She's
she's
tall.
so
So
tall. Yeah.
she's tall
He's
too.
6'8".
Yeah.
So yeah, so they probably couldn't have like stood or, and I don't know, they were super, they were
Right,
so
because they
terrible, but
couldn't
it
have
looked
got, because
so
you had to
hot and
switch.
miserable in that
Yes.
hot
Yeah.
ball.
Yeah. Ugh. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Anyway, I thought that was really fun. And I mean, I think families would really like to do something like that. So,
I think the ball would be fun, but not everybody can get in there.
yeah.
Yeah, because one of them was they were tumbling inside of there, and I thought, oh, I would get sick so fast if I had to do
Yeah.
that. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny.
And those buckets were so little.
Yeah, they
They-
were
well, yeah.
little. They were
That was
little.
like-
Those
that
buckets
was
trying
the part
to.
I thought was funny because they
Yeah.
were just like,
Yeah.
they could have
But-
used solo cups, Dixie cups.
Dixie. Well, they didn't want to make it too easy on them, so they could, And I'm
Yes.
sure none of them thought that somebody would try to use their shirt. I'm sure that never crossed anybody's mind.
No. When I heard that, I was like, why? That's just like more time.
Because she's 19 and she thought, God, she's 19 and has all this excitement and all this energy. So for her, it was probably, yes, this would be a great idea.
But if
well,
the
good thing for
hopper
her,
wasn't-
she realized it wasn't.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, but if the hopper wasn't so high, if she could have gotten up to and then just like
Yeah.
taken her shirt and gone like that, it would have been
Right.
brilliant.
That's true.
But they
That's
didn't
true.
have a step ladder for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, and they had a really good drive, Team
Uh-huh.
Green.
Yeah,
So
they did.
them going back and forth slowed them down. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it slowed the other three teams down, but
right.
for them having to take those balls out of
Yeah.
the shirt and
Yeah.
not taking as many because you're only taking what you can fit in your shirt.
That's
Right.
true. That is absolutely true.
Oh, that's true.
So Mary, since you're gonna have to leave, you want to talk to us. Mary has been our Team Blue specialist because she lives in Seattle. So you want to tell us about Team Blue and they're getting to their relative and meeting her.
Yes. So they met the relative in Moses Lake, Washington, and it was I'm sorry, I didn't write it down, but their day 2 relative was Aaron
Yes.
and his daughter Elle, and it was
Right.
Aaron's sister.
Exactly.
So-
Lindsay.
Lindsay.
Yeah,
Lindsay. Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank
yeah.
you. So Lindsay Chapman
And
and
again, those eyes.
yep,
Yeah.
got the eyes. Knew
Yes.
right away when they saw her, the eyes. And she just had such wonderful things to say
Mhm.
about Joni's mom.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
Because
she did.
Joni's mom is her aunt, and she
Yeah.
was, close to her aunt the way and aunt and niece can be. And
Yeah.
she said even Joni's mom commented to Lindsay and
Mhm.
her niece Elle, who we got to meet on day
Right.
2, that you're just such a cool aunt.
Yeah.
And it's like learned it from the best.
Yeah.
So it was really nice to
That
have
too.
that connection, and it really helped Joni, I think,
And
just
she
to
got to
get
see
a
some more
fuller
pictures.
picture of her
Yeah.
mother, a different
and
different side of her
Yeah.
mom.
right. And
So,
speaking of pictures,
Yeah.
she got more pictures.
She
So,
got
Yeah.
more pictures.
yeah.
Yeah,
so
she
that was-
had her high school graduation
Yes.
picture.
Yeah.
And if you look on I think the first episode of Relative Race where they're kind of introducing the
Mhm.
teams,
Mhm.
there's a picture of Joni at her high school graduation.
Oh.
And they didn't show those pictures side by side. They
Yeah.
showed like the 7-year-old girl
Yeah,
pictures
yeah, they
side by
did.
side,
They
but they
did
didn't show this one. But she just looks
so much.
so much like her mom.
Yeah.
So
Yep, she does.
And I thought it was really sweet too that the cousin said, your mom always said that we would have been best friends. We would have grown up being best friends. She says, now we'll just grow old together being best friends.
Yes.
And I thought,
Yeah.
I love that.
"Oh."
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
So sweet. So, so sweet. But yeah, that was a beautiful reunion, and just, those little steps to help her get to know her mom. And, as we cross our fingers and we hope that that's another mom. And then her father's still alive too. So,
Yeah.
no,
And no, yeah, Joni's dad is still alive.
yes,
Both her
yes,
parents are
yes,
still alive.
yes,
Joni's so Joni and Lindsay's father
yeah,
passed away.
right.
But there's another sister. So she's got another aunt probably to
Yeah,
meet too, or a mom's
yeah.
sister.
Yeah,
Possibly. They didn't really say whether she was alive, but they had
Yeah.
the picture of the two sisters and the brother.
right,
So,
exactly. And the brother,
yeah,
and the brother,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like you said, the brother's passed away. So we shall see. We shall see what her next.
But I did when she asked that question basically about the mother still being alive, I missed that because didn't that come up before?
No, she
Or apparently
well,
it didn't.
well, she did ask, and then she asked if she had been looking for her, and she said yes, she had been looking for her, and that she wants to meet her. And so that's got to be the most thrilling news that anybody can get.
It's
Yes, it is.
overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is both. It is overwhelming and it is fantastic news. When I found out that my birth mom was alive,
Yeah.
when you're you're in your 50s, your late 40s or older, there's a good chance that one or
Right.
both of them will not be
Are going
alive.
to be gone. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Getting that opportunity, even if you don't know you're meeting them on the show or not,
Right.
you know that they're alive and they
Yes.
want to meet you and they've thought about you. And
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Just dismisses whatever you thought might have
Yes.
been the case.
Changes your story.
Yeah,
Changes
it
your story.
changes the story. Because remember one of the other seasons, the young kid, and it was his grandmother, I think he met.
Mhm.
And he was a little angry. And
Yes.
was coming across a little angry.
Yeah.
Like grandmama put him in his place. You know what I'm saying? To come clean, because
Yeah.
you really don't know what's going on or
You
what
don't.
happened or the circumstances
Exactly.
until you get that chance, if you get the chance.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, Eric and
Yeah.
they've got
Yeah.
that chance to ask that question
Right.
face to face
Yeah.
to the biological mother.
Mhm.
And then, like, being a little bit older, I mean, don't get me wrong, even though my adoptive family was amazing, I've had those thoughts, like I wasn't
Yeah.
wanted. Kids
Yeah.
can pick on
Absolutely.
me.
Yeah.
So as especially at that younger age,
Yeah.
I was angry too.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
I just wanted to, once I knew she was alive, I just
Mhm.
wanted to give her a hug.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And
the reason didn't matter.
yeah. Speaking of stories that change, I'm thinking about David, Team Black. He had in his mind that his brother Arthur was younger than him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That got flipped real quick.
That
Got
really
turned around. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's interesting that we learned a little bit more about his story, because we know that he was taken away. All the kids were taken away at some point, but he's the only one that didn't get put back. And that he remembered that he had been with Arthur at some point.
Yes.
But he thought that Arthur was the younger of the two, which I think is it's just interesting how when you're young and stories can kind of get twisted in your mind, or
And you're not always getting the whole story either.
No,
And,
not from the social workers or anything, because they get messed up, and stories get, because with my kids I had as foster kids, we didn't get the whole story. We learned a lot more after, especially after adoptions took place. So you don't get the whole story. You just don't.
And then some of that information can be incorrect.
Oh, of course.
Also, that's
Yeah.
on these documents.
Yes.
We run across that all the time.
Yeah.
And,
Oops, you're breaking up just a little bit, Eric.
sorry. Yeah, I was saying that the nuns messed up. They switched up my mom's names,
Yeah.
and that's why I couldn't find her. I was looking
Right.
for her at a school, the right school, but for the wrong name.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
And some of it can be unintentional mistakes,
Oh,
or there can be
sure.
some intentionality
That's
to
true.
Sure.
what people are
That is
saying.
very, very true. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that. You know, he goes up and he sees this young man, and here's the thing, he knew immediately who he was. He
Saw,
said,
saw
you
him smile.
Right.
yes, he knew that he was, and it took me a minute to realize how would he know who that was, because we really hadn't heard the story that he was with him for a while, and that he really remembered that brother. And so I was a little confused until they explained that. And so who he met was his nephew. So
Yeah.
his
Luke.
yeah, Luke, his
He
brother's
could probably tell just by, like when I met Andy and Gordon,
yes.
those were the first relatives. I knew that I was related to them. I knew,
Yeah.
like, just looking at the
Yeah.
chin and the ears,
Mhm.
So, and then sometimes you just get a feeling,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
I
Eric,
met more, I just knew. So I came
Yeah.
up and I just kind of felt it.
Yep.
Eric, I would imagine that you're probably acutely aware, people in your position are acutely aware of the physical features, because even before you met your relatives, you were probably looking at every person that walked by you for those
Yes.
Oh,
features.
absolutely. Absolutely. You not knowing, never having seen a blood relative, you look things that a lot of people will take for granted. My adoptive family, you go to my great 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 grandfather, every boy down through my nephew, both of my nephews, every single boy looked exactly the same. The only thing that was different was black and white in color photos.
Yeah.
And you can see, oh, that's an Erskine. Oh, that's definitely an Erskine.
Yeah.
So when you look at I've analyzed myself as a kid. I wonder who looks like me. So you
Mhm.
kind of get to know your features, and when
Yeah.
you see somebody with one of your features or multiples,
Yes.
go.
Yeah, it's got to
Yeah.
be so surreal. It just got to be so
Well,
surreal.
with Team Black, I thought of you, Cheri.
Oh yeah?
Yes, because Luke showed them and introduced them to
Oh,
another guest.
yes, another family member.
Yes. And that family member's name was Trip.
Yes.
And that family member was a desert turtle, but it reminded me, because Arthur, his brother, is into conservation, but it
Right.
reminded me of the work that you do
The
with
sea
the turtles
turtles.
on the
Sea
beach.
turtles.
I am a big fan of turtles and terrapins, so I was happy to see that.
Yeah.
I didn't. I just learned something about you. I did not know that you
Yeah.
turtles.
Yeah, I do. All summer long, I walk turtle patrol on the beach, looking
That's
for
awesome.
turtle nests, and then we protect them. And then, if we get really lucky, we get to see them hatch and go on down to the beach. But yeah, it's fun. And so I thought that was really great that they were involved with that. And it was so cute, the picture, the turtle that they were holding up
The
to the
little one.
Yeah.
My
It was
brother-in-law
so tiny,
used
yeah.
to along years and years ago, when Mark and I were dating, his job was to go out and spend weeks in the desert tagging or counting
Oh.
desert
Yeah.
tortoises, because we
Yeah.
went to college and kind of not too far from that
Yeah.
area.
I actually know people that would think that would be their dream job, like one of my kids in particular.
Yeah.
It would just to go out in nature and get
Yeah.
paid for it.
You get paid for it. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
But David got to see pictures of his brother, Arthur, and they
Yes.
look remarkably
Don't
alike.
they? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
So I hope we get to see them meet each other. I
Yeah,
can't
I
wait for
hope
that
so
reunion.
too.
I hope
Me
so too. And
too.
I hope that we'll get to see him with all of his siblings.
Yeah.
I think that would be just all of them together.
Because when he said, my father wanted me here first to explain
Yes.
how the family is now.
Yes.
So that's the little cliffhanger.
Right.
Is he going to meet his father
Exactly.
now or not? I
Yeah.
hope he does as well.
Yeah.
I hope he does meet. I hope he does meet his brother, because I would love to see that.
Yeah, that would be beautiful. That would be beautiful. And David, I mean, the tears. I mean, he just broke down, and of course he did.
Yeah.
to meet somebody that he remembers, that he knew
Yes.
from a child at 2 and 3 years old, and he kept that memory with him. You know,
He held on to that for dear life.
yes, yes, and
See,
even
that fascinates me because I don't have memories from 2 to 3 years old, and they say it's how early you learn to talk, how early your
I
memories.
think part of it,
Because
Laura, might have been the trauma. The
Yeah, I was
trauma
thinking the
of the
trauma
whole
will
thing
stick with him too.
probably.
Yeah.
oh, okay, because
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, I mean, but that's what I would think, is that it would be the trauma.
And he was young when he was,
yeah, he said
when-
he said he was gone since he was 2.
yeah. And
So
when you,
I mean, my sister has memories that young, but I don't.
Me
But
too.
it just fascinates me, like, but I didn't think of the trauma aspect
Yeah.
of.
Mine is associated with trauma. It was a kidney infection, and I can,
Oh.
2 years old, they are holding me down.
Oh.
They are holding me down. The
The
doctor
trauma
came
will
to
do
the
that
house.
to
This
you.
is 1954. Comes
Yeah.
to the house, but they are holding me down to give me shots.
No wonder
Yeah.
you remember.
I remember that in dreams, and I didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
And Mom clarified that for me.
And another thing too is we don't know, they haven't told us how long he was with Arthur either. Was
That's
it
That's
true.
a few
and
months? Was it a couple of years? We don't know.
and he, for having, I was never a foster kid.
Mhm.
Abe was a foster kid with my parents before my
Yeah.
parents adopted him.
Uh-huh.
But we've had dozens of foster kids, throughout our growing
Right.
up.
Yeah.
And a lot of these kids, they show up with everything they own
Oh, yes.
on their back or in a small garbage bag.
Yeah, I was gonna
plastic
say,
or
or in a
small
trash
garbage
bag. That's how mine always came with, or they had their stuff in a trash bag. It was
And so the memories, like I could, picture, if I had, something to hold on to
yeah.
going through the foster system,
Yeah.
there are good people in the foster system. There's a lot of bad in the foster
Oh,
system.
that's true. That's true.
And so, knowing that's probably kept him going. The thought of his brother and trying to find him again one day.
Exactly. And since the brother's older, he probably told him too about his other siblings. And so he knew he had those other siblings out there. And so, but I hope we get more to the story. There's this.
Yeah.
I do too. I think it's coming.
Unless it's too personal. I mean, there might be some aspects of it that are a little bit too personal, but
they don't hide that much.
yeah.
And they let you know when you're.
I guess what I'm saying is if
up,
the relatives don't want them to share it, that might be
Right.
different. Yeah. So
Dan kind of teased something when you had the interview with him at RootsTech,
yes,
just about the emotionality
yes,
of David, like on
yes.
day 7 or day 8.
That's right. Yeah. He gave us a lot of teasing
Teasers.
comments that
Yeah,
now are
yeah.
making sense as we watch
Yeah.
the season. So okay, we've done black, we've done blue. Who wants to
Team
take
Red.
who wants to
We
take red?
did red.
Team
Did we
Red.
do that? Oh yeah, we did.
We just talked about him being with his mom
Yeah,
at the beginning.
That's right. We didn't
So
talk.
Dan and Kaylee, first of all, I want to say about him with his mom. I mean, to watch them, it was like they've just been together forever. It's like
I know, you would
It's
never
sweet.
know.
I mean,
So
it was just
sweet.
so natural. But Kaylee actually met her Destiny, her sister.
Her destiny.
Well, Destiny, yeah, was her
That's who
sister.
she was looking
Yeah.
for.
And
Yeah.
yes, because I like the fact that they talked about that Destiny took a DNA test. It was an ancestry DNA test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but I like about it because I mean y'all all know that I don't do DNA. It's just not my thing. But you all know the frustration. Those of you that have done this, that have done a DNA test, you make a match on Ancestry, you reach out to them, and crickets. You don't hear
Exactly.
anything.
Yep.
And Destiny even said, "Well, I did it, but then I never did go back to it."
That's
So
right.
she was one of those that
Yep.
people who do DNA can kind of get frustrated with.
Right. And I thought it was interesting that Kaylee had already made that connection.
Yes. Well, because she
Yeah.
saw it on the
And
Ancestry
she-
DNA. She saw
yeah,
Destiny.
Figured
Well,
it out.
yeah.
saw the
Well, and
close
that
match.
amount of DNA is not
Yeah.
hard.
Exactly.
Hard
Right.
one to
It-
figure
But
out.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I wonder, so is she Was she Kaylee surprised? Like she found out her dad wasn't her dad, and that's I'm trying to get her story like
Right.
together as far as
They didn't really explain that. So I was assuming that that was her sister on her dad's side, but I'm not
They
sure.
never said.
They
They
never
didn't say,
said.
yeah.
yeah.
No,
Curious.
I
So
think there's
maybe,
more coming up.
I do
yeah.
too,
I'm
because they
sure.
really didn't explain that. And I just thought it was interesting because I think one, and there probably were more, but I remember that Thaddeus had a family member that had found him through DNA and wanted to meet him as well. Usually the show finds the people and says, guess what? We found your sister. It's not usually the contestant has discovered a sister and says, I want to meet this sister on the show. But I think it all comes from the unique perspective that she had been on the show
Yeah.
previous, and she probably already knew that information, and that's when she told him, I know I've got this DNA match and I want to meet my sister. That's kind of how I took it. So
Yeah, makes sense.
but we don't know, did y'all see the picture? She's Kaylee has posted that a big huge picture of her and Dan and that big head of Ashley.
Of Ashley, yes.
So she's actually posted that picture. It's really cute. It's really fun. I try to post pictures that the teams post because I got relatives. I'm not sharing copyrighted pictures. I have asked, may I use these pictures in my blog posts? I want people to know that, and I put that underneath pictures shared with permission of relative race. So I do, if you ever go to the blog post and look, I put pictures on there that they post, and so that's one of them that they did, and it's so funny. I just love that so much. Um, so yeah, that was beautiful. I always wanted a
It
sister,
was
I kept saying.
exactly. It really was. It made me want to call my sister. It was, I've
Yeah.
always wanted, it's like I mean, a lot of people will say, I found something I never knew I was looking for, but
Right.
she knew she was looking for that sister,
Yeah.
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 And so,
And there was
yeah.
another military tie because the
Yes.
sister
Yeah, she
had
was in the military.
Yeah, a Navy helicopter a person, and she I guess
Mechanic. Yeah.
mechanic for 11 years. That's a long time. So
Yes.
yeah, so that was
Yeah.
And
that
she has a daughter, so
yes.
Kaylee's got a niece. She was so excited to have
Yeah.
auntie
Well,
niece time and do girly things.
I do some girly things, yeah.
She posted pictures today, the two cousins, her son and the new sister's daughter
I will have to go look
were hanging out. They finally got to post that picture because the show aired.
because the
So-
show
That's
aired.
good.
Okay, I'll go back
Yeah.
and look, and maybe I can
So
stick that on the
definitely,
blog.
it's such a great picture. The two
Nice.
look like they're going to be best friends for life. Really
That's
sweet.
so cute. That is so cute. I love it. I love it. That was a great meeting. When you know that you're probably going to meet somebody and you're just waiting and waiting and waiting for that person to finally walk out the door and be there. So that was,
Yeah.
I loved that. I loved that. And now we've got
Team Green.
Team Green. Who wants to talk
Jan
about
and
Team
Leland.
Green?
Well, they went to Trinidad, Colorado,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they were met by some younger people.
Yeah, which made Leland very happy.
Yeah, I wrote
was downright
what I wrote
giddy.
down is Shyne,
Shayna.
Shayna.
Shina and Zane,
Yes.
and they are cousins.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Well,
And
they
more
were-
military ties.
Yes.
yeah, more
Yep.
military ties because Shayna's husband is in the military and they're stationed in Hawaii. So she flew all the way from Hawaai.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
she,
that was
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah, and she told him a little secret.
Yes.
12 weeks pregnant.
Yes.
She's pregnant.
She's pregnant.
Yeah. So
Who's
Yeah, I was trying to
pregnant?
calculate.
Shayna, pregnant. Yeah, 12 weeks pregnant.
Has that baby come yet? I was trying to think, well, when was the
Yes.
show filmed?
Yeah, I
and
wondered
Oh,
doing the
yeah.
math.
Or
6
she-
months or so, roughly, after filming.
Yeah.
So
she's getting close. Yes,
getting close.
Yeah. she's
Yeah,
getting
she
And
could
close.
she was
Leland
on
is so
coverage,
excited
but-
because she loves babies.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, she was freaking out.
Yeah, she was. She was. So, and they gave her that book Papa-isms.
Papa-isms.
Papa-isms,
Yes,
I
I
love
love
it.
that.
Yes, so that's Jen's father that we met a couple of weeks ago. So that's the Papa. And they made a book, and I was like, that is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to-
you know what I'm seeing about this season is, remember back in the like earlier seasons, I mean, we didn't know anything about any like these stories. They're really expanding on the story. So like Joni's finding out all these things about her mother, you know, and you know, usually the relative would be like, well, you might, you know, you'll find out if she's still alive, you know, and now it's like they're really being more, which I enjoy, because you know, you're getting a sense, you know, of who these people are, you know, that they're going to meet.
Exactly.
And so I'm really loving that
Yeah.
kind of expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
like
then
that too.
Leland actually and them actually bonded over friendship bracelets.
Yeah, that
Yes.
was fun.
Because
so
wrote that
cute.
down.
Shayna's made the comment she brought hers on the plane from
Yes.
Hawaii. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Kaylee and her sister were making them too at the table. They were
Oh,
sitting
yeah.
Yeah, they were
That's
at
right.
together. Yeah.
I didn't see Dan making one, but he was watching them make them. So I thought that was really great that they were doing that for each other. It was
And it's just the weird, you know, like I see with different people, like in my family, like traits that nobody in my family. I wrote a lot of poetry when I was younger. I'm getting back into it, but my brother on my mom's side writes a lot of poetry. So
Wow.
like just like seeing the bracelets and stuff, even though
Yeah.
it's something like it's the way people are wired with DNA, and
I
it's
agree. I agree. I agree. You know, it's just fun to see that you've got connections and commonalities with these people that you never knew.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's family, you know? So that was just some really beautiful, beautiful reunions. And it was a good show. It was a
was
good
good.
show. Yeah, it was really good.
But then we had to come down to who came in first, second, third, and fourth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was pretty confident that Team Red was going to win that just because
Because
of
of
how
that
smart
Because of
they
challenge.
did
right,
with
right.
the challenge. People don't realize how long
Yeah.
some of these challenges can be if you don't make the right decision.
Right.
Right.
You know, people timed out. Abe and I, you know, with the planets things,
Yeah.
I could shoot. I grew up shooting a 22 rifle in Boy Scout camp at like 7 years old.
Yeah.
So, I knew the planets. Abe knew where they were. So, you know what I mean? We utilized,
You're a good team.
Right.
utilize,
Team.
Yeah.
and, you know, that makes a really big difference. Being able
Sure.
to calmly talk it over
Yes.
and listen, you know, not talking over each other, and you know, and putting ego aside and going, okay, because Abe and I, there were multiple times where we both had ideas. We listened to her, you know, his idea, he listened to mine, and then we would go, okay, mine's better or yours is better.
Yeah.
And when either one, it was usually pretty obvious, and you just go with it because you know, getting that teamwork done.
Yeah, I like the benefit. This is a different benefit that they've ever had before, and that is the winning team gets balloons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's huge.
That's huge.
That is
So when I met
huge.
my sister in my second sister from sister from Bermuda, we needed to have those balloons. That's we would have been in first place because we killed it at the challenge.
Yeah.
But we drove past it 5, 6 times because we didn't know it was an extension of the road, you know.
Right, right. I remember that. Yeah, exactly. So you that's a great, is it?
It is a very good.
Yeah, it's a great benefit. Yeah.
Because people think that like using the GPS, more often than not, when they've done that, it's hurt the people more than helped them.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
So planning
you only
in,
let them look at it for just a few minutes, and then you're thinking, did that say go right, go left? And so they get confused, and it does. It's sounds like a great idea until you realize you can't take a screenshot of it, and you can't.
and you can't write it down. You have to remember it. It's not always
Yeah.
Not always gravy.
Not always gravy. So Team Red came in first.
Yep.
Yeah. Who came in second, everybody?
Team Blue.
Blue.
And then it was between green and black. And we've got to remember, Team Black is the only team that doesn't have a strike.
Well,
Their benefit sure didn't help them.
No.
Not
their
having to do
benefit
boot
didn't help
camp
them at all.
did not help them a bit.
They ended up coming in last. And so now
Yeah.
everybody, it's even. Everybody's got a
Yes.
strike. So,
yeah.
we kind of like everybody even, but
Oh yeah. I mean, they're all getting through.
yeah.
Yes.
I like this format, even
Yeah.
though at least I don't know if I necessarily like it, but it's much less confusing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Much
Yes.
Much less
You know.
confusing, yes.
So that makes it a bit better. And I think that the fans, most of the relative race, fans, I think, want to see the family and want to know more about the family.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so
I
they're
think-
getting them to all meet the family
Right.
is a
And
huge
that's
thing.
what
I
Dan was
think-
saying on our interview, is that he kept getting, and he was joking around, hate mail that what we're getting sent home. And we didn't like that. None of us liked that. So as they progress through with the golden ticket and all that,
Yeah.
I think it drops the stress level with the teams as
Yeah.
well, so that they can enjoy the journey a little bit better.
yeah.
Agree.
Not having to worry about, getting
It's-
strikes and getting kicked out, going home.
You're
and
stressed no matter what.
I know.
Okay, granted, like Abe and I were never in the eliminated position.
Uh-huh.
So, we got third once, I think, and that was bad enough. But so that wasn't stressing
So
us.
now
but
you're bragging.
there's enough stress. Am I doing it?
Nah.
But it's teamwork and luck sometimes too.
Oh, sure. Oh,
In that
yeah.
finale when Abe took the shot with the crossbow,
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
I saw crossbows. I've owned a crossbow.
Yeah.
But he's like, you're better at the trivia. And I'm like, okay. It's like, this is where you aim, and he listened. So and he showed with the second shot that it wasn't just luck.
Yep.
So
Yep.
he had a little
Great.
bit of skill that he did not know he had.
Great. That is great. Is there anything else about day 4 that we didn't cover? I think.
No, it was a
think
good
we got
episode.
everything.
Yeah,
Looking
it's
forward to
good.
day 5.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Day 5, and
It's
I want
going
to let
fast.
right, and
Yeah.
I do want to let our Gen Friends fans out there know that we will not be recording next week because I will be out of town. I will be in
So
Bermuda.
excited for you.
Yes.
I'm
Bermuda.
so excited for you.
I will be in Bermuda, and thank you to Eric and his dad's friend. I'm gonna get by Mary. She had to go. There's some places that I want to go and see. I lived there as a child. My dad was stationed there, and I've got these memories of visiting different places and some photos, and I want to go and I mean, half these places may not even be there anymore. I don't know, but they're here and they're in the pictures, and I just wanted to take a day and travel around and go find those in memory of my mom and dad who both passed. And so
Yeah. I'm glad that I could put
and
you in touch with the right person, because
Yes.
nobody knew, other than my dad,
yeah,
other than my birth dad, I don't think there's a single person that knows that island better than him. Because
yeah,
he was,
yeah,
a younger friend of my dad's, and my dad had taken him as a wing and taught him the way.
yeah. So I'm so grateful. So we won't be recording, but we will catch up after day 6. We'll do a 5 and 6 together.
That'd be great.
Wonderful.
So no Gen Friends next week after day 5. Not because we don't love the show, but because I'll be out of town, and I've told
And-
these
And you
ladies.
can't replace Cheri.
No.
You guys, you can
We'll
do
wait for you to come back.
Absolutely.
All righty. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching, and we love your comments and your questions, and we love it when the teams watch and answer some of our questions that we have, about the show. So thank you, and we will see you next time in 2 weeks on GenFriends. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Eric.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Eric.
Thank you. Thank you.
I gotta
You know.